That's what I'm.
Oh, hey everybody! Hi.
One more time, bro. Here we go.
Welcome.
Hold on, he's about to pump it. Yes,
That's right.
there we go.
All right. This is the grand finale of all finales. Okay, you guys do not want to miss this. In fact, like I said, I don't know if your bodies are ready. Mind, body, spirit. Let me ask you guys, because we have two very special guests who came a long way. Okay, who here? Times, this is great, weekends, but times are rough out there. Who here, feels like they want to be empowered? Who's here? Who's for empowerment? Yes. Who's for being inspired?
Oh, I want to be inspired.
That's why we're here, right? Mentally, with art, creatively, innovation, financially. Well, guess what? These two are in the business of inspiring and empowering and building a legacy. Okay, do I lie, Mitchell?
No,
I do not tell a lie. Okay, this man, looking spiffy in his black, the one and only Mitchell Ruiz, who is behind the Generational Wealth Club. He has such a... Yes, Mitchell, give it up for Mitchell.
Let's go.
Guys, he put a bow tie on for us on the Thursday night. I didn't forget, Mitch. And this man, right here, he came in all the way from Utah. Honorable guest.
Abu Dhabi,
Actually. Yeah. I've been fact-checked. The whole time. Mark Zuckerberg thought with the fact-checking. Okay. Sean Reyes, 3-term former Attorney General of Utah.
Yeah.
Did I stutter? And now he's gone on to advise some very powerful people, movers and shakers. And these two have such an inspirational, fascinating story in their own rights, like rags to riches in your own ways, and built everything on your backs. So the fact that we get to hear from you about your experience and that wisdom you can impart on us is such a gift, and what this is all about, right? Like raising the vibration in art and creativity and community. But I'm gonna throw a curveball at you too. That's how I do things. Okay?
We're good.
So you guys in your own rights are self-help gurus, right? And it's all about the self-help right now. Give us a red flag or a mythbusters that the mainstream self-help gurus are not getting. What are they missing? Go ahead, Sean.
I'm going to defer and let Mitchell answer that one first, because I think it's a great question. Mitchell, what are the self-help gurus missing in their presentations today? What's the non-obvious?
Yes.
I appreciate that, honestly, because, I really hate to inspire, but I would say what immediately comes to my mind when it comes to people not catching what's most important is the order of operations. I feel like when you see a lot of the self-help gurus with their sharing, is if you see them follow this sales protocol that it's supposed to capture people in advertising the life that they want, right? And that's what promoting to it. But they're more trying to say, this is the reality that you want, without saying how do you feel? Who are you on the inside, as opposed to the things that you possess externally. And you see a lot of the self-help gurus advertise the external type of benefits that we'll receive from potentially going down that sales funnel. But it's not about the real work or the real things that are the foundation that will attract the things that will make those external things more enjoyable.
So if I'm picking up what you're putting down, it's like the flex to the funnel. It's the flex to the funnel. It's the flex to the funnel. Sean, what do you think?
Well, picking up on that theme, I'll go with what Mitchell was starting with. I think so much of our society incentivizes external incentives, right? And so everyone's chasing more dollars, more likes, more image more influence.
That part.
And we need to turn back and get inside. And there are some, in fairness, who do talk about this, but we don't talk about it enough as a society. Not in politics, not in the boardroom, not on TV. And one of the things that I hope that everybody leaves this event with is an understanding, at least this is how I communicate it, and you can put it in your own terms, is that all of us are worthy of having miracles happen in our lives. All of us deserve to have those types of amazing things, whether they're grand miracles or just tiny little things that we too often overlook and we don't give credit to the universe or God for. Because I think, Taylor, too often we're caught on one side or the other. Either we rely on our own hard work, the arm of the flesh, we're going to work hard and get this done. And that is an absolute component, I believe. But letting the universe and acknowledging that there's so much abundance around us and focusing on that mentality, or we're on the opposite side, like I'm not worthy enough, I'm not special enough to access the miracles. Miracles, I guarantee you right now, if you're struggling, if you're thinking, where's my next funding round going to come from? How am I going to make this presentation tomorrow, make payroll? The answers are there around you. You just have to, again, connect internally. And I think that is part of the equation that Mitchell was leading off and talking about, is that we need to do a little bit more of incentivizing who we are and finding that why and staying true to that versus chasing every other externality. So that's
amazing.
That's Sean's TED Talk. You guys just got a free TED Talk. I mean, but so spot on. Sean, you mentioned miracles. Is there an endeavor, a book you want to tell us about?
I promised it wasn't. I was trying to just be low key about it, but
I mean, I picked up your foot down, like I said to Ben.
No, so I've had the privilege, the blessing of working with some of the most powerful and amazing people who are world leaders in business and in politics and culture and art around. And I've been an observer, just fortunate, a fly on the wall to see their stories and their journeys and how they've helped lift other people when they've had the opportunity. And so I'm just compiling a number of those stories under the theme of miracles, so that if you're in a penthouse in Manhattan or you're in a favela in Sao Paulo, all of you are worth the same in the eyes of God. That's my philosophy. And he cares about each and every one of us. He knows us, and he puts an abundance of miracles and treasures around us if we'll only be attuned to that, acknowledge them, be grateful for them, and then turn ourselves into a vehicle to bring those miracles to pass for others. That's sort of the thesis of this book. So it'll come out in 26, and some cool names and there's some cool stories around people who've changed the world in terms of culture and celebrities and athletes. But the core is about how they've raised other people and brought miracles into the lives of so many.
Yes, Siri, 2026, mark it down, or else. You know, you talked, Sean, about, I love what you said about everybody chasing clout, clicks, likes. Do you guys feel like, this is a conversation I've had a lot over this weekend, do you guys feel like things are getting faker or realer? Like, I, for one, I'm sick of the fake for this very reason, right? We're sick of it. And these, I like the two things, that's perfect. We're sick of it. And these two are so real. And you guys walk the walk, you practice what you preach in terms of being real and lifting others up, right? You really do that. And from your humble beginnings in your own story. Now, let me ask you, we had a talk last night, three of us, long talk. And one of you guys talked about how art, again, the reason we're all here, how it's the window into the soul of a community. Art is what helps us grow, evolve, feel seen, like feel revived as humans, right? what is missing in art right now? And take into mind the real versus fake of it all that we're in right now. What's missing?
Ah, man. That's a loaded gun. That's a loaded gun.
That's how I roll.
Well, because I mean, you got to think about it. There's a void out there, right? And you know, how do you fill a void, right? And the idea of
What's the void? What's the void?
the void is happiness, you know, and the almost what's the word for it when you it's not a contradiction, but it's almost an oxymoron when you think about, you know, some of the best art that we've gotten in this world or that we've received. It's come from, you know, some of the saddest stories, you know, and, you know, when I think about this, where I'm from, you know, it's this generation before me, but, you know, just talking about, I was born 1988, you know, you think about the era of hip hop and you think about the transformation of that art form that is literally spread around the globe. You know, they have pictures of Tupac Shakur in Germany. You know, the murals that they're painted. Okay, it's obviously not an English-speaking country more than it is German. It's really a cry out for communication, for community, for a sense of shared purpose, shared understanding, and you know. Even though we're more connected than we've ever been with technology, I feel like there's the divisiveness behind, you know, the individuals, right? I mean, there's always an individual and an intention behind divisiveness. There needs to be a common thread, which I think you do amazingly, Taylor, and I want to commend you on that for, you know, having this intention to get beyond the things that are divisive and separatist to, you know, get to the truth that we all can share, you know, a common ground on.
Humanity.
You know? A human understanding, right? Because everything else is like superficial. And I love Miami, but there's always a part of me that understood that Miami had like this superficial, you know, thing. But you know, when you have that authentic intention, you're able to get beneath that and break the barrier that you know, people hold up to protect themselves. So I think it's really inspiring people to be vulnerable and be leaders in their vulnerability, to share their story. And you know, the more vulnerable that I become, the more I realize that I have a lot more in common with everybody around me than I have in difference.
Well, let's be real. Everyone's trying to be like everybody else, and you two are so authentic. But what do you think, Sean, of what's missing in art?
Yeah, let me take a stab at it, Taylor. I think we've talked about over this weekend art being a powerful tool for investment and generational wealth, which it is. But I think there are many more opportunities that we're missing to use art as a vehicle for healing.
Yeah.
And there's so much pain and there's so much isolation. There's so much loneliness in the world. As just like the conundrum that Mitchell talked about, the more supposedly connected social media brings us, the more distant and disconnected we are as humanity.
Yeah.
Art has such a powerful tool. As you said, it is the window into the soul of a society, but it has the power to bring us together. So in my previous job in law enforcement, I worked with some of the most marginalized communities, women who were abused, children who were human trafficked, survivors of all sorts of atrocities. And art was such a powerful instrument to bring hope and light back to them. Even when that art depicted it wasn't all like happiness and rainbows. Art was a reflection of their pain and their anxiety, but it was cathartic for them, and it helped them overcome that. And so with that segue, I wanted to tease something. It's a challenge to the organizers of bitbasel. And Mitchell, if you're cool with it,
I had it in my notes, Sean. Don't worry.
I'm going to pivot right now into this.
I love a pivot.
Because I think we just zoom over to that side. By this time next year, we are going to found tonight. We'll file the paperwork sometime later this week or next week. A foundation that we hope you will all be a part of. A nonprofit that will help lift and alleviate the pain and suffering of a lot of those victims and survivors. Whatever the case or the cause might be, we'll make it broad so that it can be inspirational to people in all sorts of prisons, not just physical prisons, but mental, emotional, financial prisons. And this time next year, when you hopefully will join us, we can report back on some of the miracles that have happened through this foundation that will use art, hopefully burnished by some good crypto investments and digital assets, to be able to bless the lives of those who are struggling, who are going through some and recovering from some, really dehumanizing circumstances. So, Mitchell, are you cool? You're going to stand with me. We're going to create this nonprofit.
Chin.
We're going to grab everybody.
You challenge on, bitbasel.
How many of you, I'm not asking for dollars tonight. I'm not asking for your time, but just so we can gauge your interest, how many of you would support a nonprofit based off of this event tonight in bitbasel? Raise your hand. I'd love to see that. I want to see your impact parts. That's wonderful.
Take and put your money where your mouth is to the next level. Right?
That's the next ask later, but we'll get that. We'll take digital assets. We'll take fiat currency for this purpose. We'll take anything. You can all of that. We'll take peanut butter if you want.
Hello, you are on bitbasel.
Let's do it. Come on, bitbasel. We want you. Tony, we got Tony right here.
No, it's
one of the most. Tony's gonna end up doing a film about it afterwards, like the other amazing films that he does. And we've got many other friends here in the audience, the crowd tonight. Thank you for your support. Thank you so much.
All right, guys, wrap it up here because we are people. We're not fake. We're about it. Do you mind if I get a little personal? Is that okay with you, gentlemen?
Please.
Okay. So
if we said no, Taylor, would you actually?
But I asked for your permission. Okay, yeah, exactly.
We know you, Taylor. You're going where you want to go, no matter what. So just.
I thought I'd do the niceties.
It was a nice gesture. Go ahead.
So before I air out your life story, no. But I just love it because I come from a celebrity background. You with politics, it's all fake and people can placate all day long, right? But these two have the lived experience. So what Sean his challenge he just threw out, it comes from such a real raw place. So if I may share, Mitchell, you were at one point homeless here in Miami. Sean, you grew up from an immigrant family in a ghetto of LA. And look at what you are now. And not just what you build for yourselves, but what you want to build for others. I have chills just saying it right now. I'm not going to cry here. That'll be after. But seriously, it's really, really moving. When it comes to this world, in the bigger picture, right? What decentralization offers, like we talked about, bucking the system. And not being, at the will, under the thumb of the institutions, the powers that be. Giving a chance for the little guy. Leveling the playing field. Giving everyone their shot. Tell everybody a little bit about why, from your experience, give us a window into your world and why that's so important to you. Maybe it's a part of your experience you don't normally share.
Absolutely. And thank you for that, because you inspired me to extrapolate, something that I feel like is going to resonate with people and something that they could take away. When I think about like my journey of financial literacy, this concept, there's the disenfranchised world, which is a very large portion of the population in all countries. You have disenfranchised, you have enfranchisement, and in both sides you have culture. Culture is art, it drives so much, and sometimes they blend into each other. And for me, when I think about my journey and the needs, the problems that I needed to solve, the biggest problem that perplexed me growing up in the mecca of finance in New York City was, how could I be living there and be financially illiterate? And how can everybody in my community be so financially disillusioned, where there's the pseudo comprehension of, even to the basic understandings of credit and how, what a dollar means, and undervaluing themselves in that process. So, when I think about my stint at JP Morgan, I worked for JP Morgan for 2 years, and, just what that taught me in terms of like, how money works. Remind me of the last thing you said, because I got a big
why empower, like leveling the playing field and empowering the little guy, drawn from your own experience, right? And what this world, Mitchell, of decentralization, like giving everyone their fair shake and a fair shot, why it's so important to you.
Thank you, because I had to get that first part out, and then you brought me back to what my original thought was. So the idea is, what decentralization does is it's empowering the individual in a way that is going to make them uncomfortable. Because what the corporatized world has done is it's essentially, when you, you make somebody so comfortable that they need you, and when you,
Decent.
correct,
Yeah.
and when you function in a decentralized sort of trade, you're assuming the liability of a bank. You have the FDIC, you have all these different types of things that, if something goes wrong with a transaction, the bank is going to assume that liability and reimburse you. Whereas if you send your crypto to a wallet and somebody scammed you, there's no recourse to many degrees, unless you go to the FBI or talk to Sean, or, you know what I mean? Like, those are the only people that can probably help you. And even that is, it's such a new realm, when you think about when cryptography was incepted. So, for me, it's really just, getting people prepared for this understanding of what growth means. And growth is discomfort. And we have a choice of suffering or suffering. That was my realization. I was either going to suffer with the same actions and routines that I developed to survive in a impoverished environment, or I was going to embrace new discomforts in order to break out of that and grow into something that can be more. So I think it's kind of really mentally preparing people for that sort of discomfort that's going to come with assuming the liability of growth and autonomy.
Sean, before you hop in, and be honest, guys, we're all about being honest and real. Does anyone here have a similar story to these two, where they really had a rough or a challenging go? Because it's so inspiring to me how you would think that people in your position would have a chip on their shoulder and be like, no, F it. You guys are so positive. It's really remarkable. It's so inspiring. Does anybody resonate with Sean? Hasn't even told the story yet, but yeah. That's awesome. What do you think, Sean?
No, these stories are amazing. It's what makes America great and the world great. It's what makes the human experience great. Art is such a powerful way to express those stories, and art doesn't happen in a vacuum. You need resources to be able to create art. You need resources to be able to promote art. And the DeFi world, as you alluded to, Taylor, it democratizes access. It democratizes success. The ability for people to be able to see works like this. In the neighborhoods that we grew up in, we never had this opportunity, this blessing. And I want to give so much thanks to God in my life for allowing me to have mentors and people like yourselves who would take time out of your busy schedules to help mentor a young person or a new professional. Because those were the miracles in my life that allowed me to be able to, again, be where I am today. This nonprofit that we are going to create, I'm very excited about it because Mitchell brought up a really interesting point. In the neighborhoods that we grew up in, it wasn't just the lack of access that we had to opportunities. It was the lack of experience and knowledge and vision. You could have put my parents in a room like this, surrounded by opportunity. So now they have access. They wouldn't have done anything with it because they had no knowledge. They'd never been brought up in an environment where someone said, you can be this. This is what you can aspire to. And again, having money is not the end all and be all. It's a good tool to help facilitate helping and lifting others. But my parents never had that. So growing up, we didn't have mentors. We didn't have uncles or friends who were at the country club who said, here, let me teach you how to invest. Let me teach you how to golf. Let me do any of those things that all of us now have access to. If you're here tonight, it means you're successful. to some level, right? You either had the means or you have the knowledge or the hunger, the ambition to better your situation financially. That doesn't make you better as a human being, but it betters your situation and allows you more opportunity to bless the lives of others, including yourself and your family. So I love what Mitchell said. As we educate people who have never had access and also have never had the vision, the perspective to say, that could be me. You know, my families were like families that were serving tonight. There's servers here tonight who are brilliant, amazing people. How about, whether they can hear it or not, please give them a hand, acknowledge them. You know, many of them were professionals in their countries. They come here from Venezuela. They come here from war-torn countries. They were doctors and they're lawyers. I kid you not, if I brought them out right now, I promise you one of them has more education than most of us combined.
My Uber driver was from Venezuela.
Absolutely.
Doctor, family doctor, yeah.
And they're here working their tails off just to provide for their families in an environment that we take for granted far too often. Doesn't matter, Democrat, Republican. The reason I left the political world is it's so zero-sum. It's so toxic in many ways. It's so the opposite of abundance is scarcity mentality, right? You are the opposite. That's why I'm here tonight, because I want to be around people with your energy.
Yeah, hello,
We
yeah.
come together and bring resources together that we share as a human family. We can have different ideas about economic policy and social policy. That's fine. That's who we are. We're humans. We can change. But we also are one big family, and that's what I want to emphasize with this event. That's why I flew in from Abu Dhabi. That's why we skipped F1 and Abu Dhabi Finance Week, because somebody here tonight needs to hear Mitchell's story. Somebody here tonight needs to know we've got your back. We're here to help you as part of our human family and lift others. So hopefully you'll help us back with this nonprofit. And when we reach out to you, you'll give a little bit of time or resources so that we can lift others, right, Mitchell? Help educate them, give them knowledge, give them vision, give them opportunity and access. And one day, those little girls who might be victims of human trafficking or other types of abuse can say, I can be like Taylor. I can have my own show. I can have my own business empire. I can be so baller, just like you. This girl, you walk it, just like you talk it. Fiercely, authentically. No, you're kind of scary. I'll be awesome. I mean, I'll be honest with Mitchell and I. Like, please don't ask us any more questions. Like,
I have one more.
I'm gonna wait.
Be careful what you wish for.
One big round of applause for Taylor, who's been doing this all weekend, for all of the panels, for everybody. She flew out. She needs love.
Sean,
She is so awesome.
it's not even my birthday. I mean,
Come on.
Say that.
We're handing it out. Those are free. Why don't we do that
my
more?
goodness.
We should do that more in politics. Be out recognizing everybody and
Yes.
acknowledging them for all the good they're doing instead of tearing them down.
Thank you so much. And these two, I mean it. They walk the walk. Like, talk to them if you haven't yet, because they are so abundant. And how they're wired. Like, Taylor, let me show you this for this person. So they practice what they preach. Lastly, is it okay with you guys? We have a former AG here. Can I get a little political for the last bomb? Yes, I'm gonna. Again, I don't ask for permission, so I don't know why I asked you. I'm gonna do it anyway.
Maybe not partisan. That's a political question.
No.
Yeah.
This is okay. So, again, this is all about breaking out of control, be it financially, media, thought, politically, right? All the institutions, the powers that be.
Yep.
Now, I asked Sean, this is your background. You've been in the political world. We all can agree. If there's one thing we can all, I would think, agree on, is that when it comes to this decentralized space, art creation, financial literacy, like, please, to the powers that be, don't step on our gown. Like, just don't.
Yeah.
Right? Now, Sean, are you hopeful? We all agree this should be nonpartisan, free marketplace. Are you hopeful, though, that there will be decentralization without an entity, one way or the other, trying to come in, manipulate, control it. Are you hopeful about that?
Great. That's a great question. So, because it speaks again to what we talked about before, sovereignty, autonomy. I'm going to answer it this way, Taylor, because I think I know what you're getting at. In terms of policy and how this develops in America or around the world, America's behind the curve a little bit, by the way, because we never got ahead of this and passed uniform policy that gave predictability to businesses and allowed businesses to have certainty. Sometimes it's better to have bad policy than to have no policy, because even with bad policy, you can budget, you can predict, you understand what the rules are and where the lines are. I am usually a fan of states having more control and allowing states to be the laboratories of experiment. Right now, this sounds like a civics lecture, but states really are empowered to do that. They're nimble. We can try different things out in different states. Sandboxes here, allow a little more regulation there. But then the federal government comes in and passes one uniform policy that everybody knows is what we'll all abide by. They know the rules. Because if we don't have one guiding federal policy, the danger is that each state will regulate the digital assets in their own way. And what's worse than having no policy is having 50 different policies that will hurt business, that'll hurt innovation, and smart businesses will take their business out of the US and they'll go other places like they have in the past. So for those of you who are passionate about developing stronger US presence in this space, we should be hoping for more uniform policy. Having said all that, the government, by the time it passes a policy, I think your last panelist talked about it. Government was architected to be deliberate and slow. It is not nimble and reactionary like the marketplace is. That's why the private sector market is so much better. And if the private sector market will lean in and self-regulate and act in ways that reflect our common principles, you wouldn't have to rely so much on government. Because by the time government passes a law, especially in the tech space, and particularly when it comes to digital assets, by the time, 3 years down, 4 years down the road, the law is finally passed, it's already an anachronism. It's obsolete because the technology's already surpassed it. So my plea to you all as business owners, business leaders, those of you who care passionately about this, is to put pressure on your businesses and your boards to not rely just on government to pass rules and laws, but architect that DNA into your innovation, into your companies, so that we hold accountable others in that space, in that marketplace, right? I don't know if this is making sense to you, but if we don't do it in the private sector, and we leave it only to government, government's happy to step in, but they're not particularly well equipped. How do I know? Because I've dealt with them at the state level, at the federal level for the past 12 years. And then you get clunky laws that don't reflect the actual on-the-ground experiences. And then you have regulators, like I was as an attorney general, trying to enforce bad laws against businesses. And it's a kind of nightmare scenario in many cases. So again, I don't know if that directly answered your question, Taylor, but those are some thoughts that I have about crypto policy in America.
Amazing. I think the way that we wrap this kind of even captures that is power to the people, right?
Yeah.
Power to the people.
Well said, Sean.
Yeah, very well said. And unless, Mitchell, you have any last words, I think that's a wrap on.
I mean, if there's any gifts that I want to leave everybody with, is that, we're here together divinely for a special purpose. It is a amazingly beautiful night in Miami. We had a full moon for the past 7 days. There's like 90% of it out right now. But I really want everybody to step into this concept that was gifted to me by a guy named Charlie Rocket. And I always give my flowers, man. And really, I want everybody to feel like they're on a winning streak. You know what I'm saying? It's Saturday, and the night is young. But I want everybody to step out of here feeling like to count their winning streaks and watch how they start compounding and, allow themselves to really believe that whatever they believe in and whatever they believe they can achieve is already theirs, and to be excited to be journeying towards that. And watch how you enjoy the journey all the way to the destination. So
That's beautiful. One other thing, bro. I want to invite you while you're celebrating your winning streak. And when this party's done, go across the street to the karaoke bar. What's it called over there?
the Cuckoo Nest.
Cuckoo Nest. Because our buddy Julio Gonzalez, who was here.
Shout out to Julio.
Say yes.
He was here speaking a couple days ago. He's one of the owners. So to support Julio Gonzalez, let's go celebrate, because Taylor is going to be performing there
Live.
at the Cuckoo Nest. And if you want to come sing along with her, come on down.
You might have to manifest.
Taylor,
a little
thank
bit
you so
more
much.
for that one.
God bless you. Thanks to everybody for being here. It's been
Who feels
powerful.
inspired from these two? Give it up. Sean, Mitchell, guys.
Mitchell, ladies and gentlemen.
Gosh, what a way to wrap
you,
it.
thank you.
What a gift. Wait, I didn't want to win that deal. Woo, yeah. Come on now.
That's right.
All right. Thank you guys.
That's how we're doing the island.
Thank you, Taylor. Thank you so much.